That's how I feel. I just had the best sex ever, 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 ever. There is completely a point to my sharing this. Jimena! Bella! Oh, I look so happy because I just had amazing sex. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about what makes amazing sex so amazing. How do we create the environment for us to have amazing, mind-blowing, heart-opening, breakthrough-inducing sex, transformative sex? How do we get there? What are the benefits other than the just wild amounts of pleasure? And what can we expect to see in our lives when we're having this kind of transformative sex? I will likely say sex like 20 million times, along with other explicit language. So if you don't want to hear the details, leave now. But if you do, if you want all the juice, stick around. So this is what I'm calling high priestess sex. And of course, if you are not solo, then the other person or people that you're having sex with, in order to create this kind of experience, all need to be riding the same wave, the same energetic wave, and the same emotional wave. So first of all, let's talk about the benefits of amazing sex. I mean, there are plenty. There are way more than I can even list. But from a transformational standpoint, when we're people who are interested in personal development, in growing and expanding, for some reason, sex gets left out of the conversation as an amazing tool for personal and spiritual development. We see things left and right about breath work and meditation and float tanks and biohacking and all these things, and they're awesome. And if we just had the key to learning how to use sex and our sexuality as a means of healing, of growth, of expansion, of transformation, we would see a lot more happy, well-fucked people in the world. I think there'd be a lot less violence, a lot less aggression, a lot more peace. I think we'd all have a pretty good time if we were all just better fucked. So I will stand on my soapbox, and that's my belief on this. So what happens when you're having transformative sex? And just as a blanket, sex, yes, I am referring to intercourse, but I'm referring to any sort of sexual activity, sexual experience, anything that's really welcoming in your sexual energy. So one, we're looking at things like experiencing extreme pleasure. So when we are in the transformative place of sex with ourselves or with a partner or partners, we are looking at full body pleasure. So it's not simply pleasure that happens in the genital area, but it's a full body, maybe chill up the spine, heat rising. We can actually feel our energy in different parts of our bodies. And I'm starting with the benefits first because so many of us have had varied experiences with sex, and some of the things that I have learned in sex with my partner are things that never occurred as possibilities to me. I just had no idea that something was possible until it happened. And that's why I want to share this, because I want for there to be more possibility for anyone who's tuning into this around what sex and sexuality can mean. It can mean it's a way for us to open our hearts, to expand, to grow, to transform, to heal, to love, to connect. Like, that is what it serves as when we learn how to navigate our sexuality in that way. So not only are we receiving and experiencing full body pleasure, we're also looking at a tool that gives us deep rejuvenation and deep relaxation. There can be moments of contraction and expansion. And when we're in this place of deep pleasure, and especially at climax and orgasm, we're experiencing a massive release of oxytocin and dopamine. So that's really enhancing our ability to receive pleasure, our ability to relax, our ability to feel like we're a little bird in a bird bath and we just just put the water all over us and are just shaking it off. It's like this cleansing experience to have this kind of sex. You can also use transformational sex for manifestation, for intention setting. So my partner and I like to do this often, and we did this today, where we set intentions before having sex. What we want to create, how we want to serve the world. And may this pleasure bring us the ability to serve more deeply, to serve more people. May this opportunity be the thing that puts us in the vibration and the state of being that just attracts the right people to us, be it friends, colleagues, clients, whatever it is. And so we can use sex as a portal, as a vehicle on which to put our intentions, a vehicle like a rocket ship, actually. And we put our intentions on this rocket ship, we experience massive pleasure, and then we take off. And it's like we're sending our intentions out into the cosmos for like massive manifestation. I mean, that's just such an amazing visual. Putting our intentions on the rocket ship, this vehicle that we're calling sex, and fucking sending it off into the cosmos for instant manifestation. Imagine how powerful intention setting would be if we strapped it to our pleasure and then we just sent it out into the world. And that's exactly what I want to share with you. So manifestation is another reason, another amazing way we can create transformative sex. We're also looking at getting to explore all of these different dynamics. So I'm sure most of us have had unsatisfying sex, and it's sort of just a thing that, occurs for most humans. And, a lot of times when we find ourselves in a sexual experience, unless there is some sort of mystery, newness, or intention to create a dynamic sexual experience, then we typically ride the groove. And when I say ride the groove, that means we find ourselves just kind of doing what feels familiar, what feels comfortable, what feels good, what we know will work, what we always do. And that can be great. There can be some tried and true ways to approach sex and sexuality because we know our bodies. We know what works for us typically. And when we're talking about transformative sex, we can discover ourselves and our partners newly by playing with different dynamics. So that might be a role play, for example. So one of my just kinks and preferences in sex is I love things that are forbidden. Like that, just something about it turns me on. So one of the role plays that my partner and I use is the role play where one of us is in partnership with someone else and we've snuck this person home and we have to like quickly do the deed or intensely like soak into this dynamic before our partner comes home. And there's just this aspect of forbiddenness. And in this dynamic, I learn about new parts of my personality. I learn about new preferences. This is a vehicle and a portal for self-discovery if we think of sex in that way. But this is a mindset that we have to put on, that we have to be open to if we want to use sex as an avenue to discover ourselves, if we want to use sex as an avenue to discover our partners. Because when we play in these different dynamics, whether it's a role play dynamic, whether it is a submissive dominant dynamic, whether it's any other kink or fantasy or preference, when we try these new hats on, it's like playing dress up, like we're putting costumes on. And we see how we look different in each of the costumes, what features they accentuate, how well something fits us in a certain place of our body, how much we learn about the kinds of fabrics we like. That's what sex can do. That's what playing in different dynamics and trying new things can do. And I've also found that transformative sex leads to massive breakthroughs. So when you're in this place where you've created safety with a partner, and first, of course, that starts with creating safety within, being present for your own experience, your own emotions, your own preferences, your body's needs, desires, wants. And when that container is created, the most extraordinary things happen. So often I find my partner and I are having sex, and I'll have a breakthrough. And sometimes I'll decide to save it till after just to kind of keep the vibe going. And other times I'll stop what I'm doing and I'm like, I got to share this with you. Like, boop, 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 just in. And it's one of those like insane breakthroughs. And it is because we have set aside time to create the space, the spaciousness, where we're able to be present. When we are in presence, we are in the present moment. We're not in the future. We're not in the past. When we find ourselves in presence, that is when the creative ideas come flowing through. Because the universe says, oh, these people are open. So we're going to send them something good, something that's meant for them, something that's going to serve them. And because they're open, because they're in a place of open-heartedness, because our crown is open, because we're open to receiving and giving pleasure and being in this highest vibration of love, joy, pleasure, connection, intimacy. The universe is like, okay, they're open. We're going to drop some good ideas into them right now so they can have some massive ass breakthroughs that is going to share with them what they're meant to do in the world, how they're meant to serve, who they're meant to reach out to. All of these amazing things. So this is what transformative sex has the power to create. It is a container for transformation, for breakthrough, for personal development, for spiritual growth, for connection, for intimacy, for the very depths of our humanity. This is when we can see it, when we are present and connected and tuned in to our pleasure. Okay, so that is just a few of the benefits that transformational sex can have. This kind of sex where we're in a container of safety, of connection. But let's talk about how to create that, because that's so important here, right? Okay, great, Lee, this sounds amazing. I love it. Glad you've done it. How do I do it? How do I create the container with my partner for transformational sex that is like a Tony Robbins seminar times 10, but not as crazy as Tony Robbins, or maybe because you're just receiving so much growth and transformation and expansion through the experience itself. So let me just share one of my beliefs when it comes to sex and sexuality. Many of us have experienced and have been through traumatic events when it comes to sex. That could have been a severe trauma, all the way to we had sex when we didn't want to and we said yes, and it called into question our self-worth, anything along the spectrum of a traumatic experience. So I want to acknowledge that many of you who are tuning in have had experiences like that, as have I. And one of my deepest beliefs, when we learn to cultivate and develop our sense of sexuality, not as a means to get anything, not as a means to receive validation, all of these sort of crossed wires that we have in our head because of how we were raised or what we saw. But when we strip our entire story and history around sexuality away, and when we let sexuality be this pure concept, this pure entity that we can then imprint upon it our new beliefs, our new desires as a conscientious adult walking the earth, then sex has the chance to be this portal to the divine, this way to God. Whatever you believe spiritually and religiously, there is a space, there is an opportunity for sex to be the rocket ship that launches us into the cosmos and beyond, into the ethers, into recognizing that there is so much beyond us. And that's when the cosmic breakthroughs download. That's when we experience the depths of our pleasure. I mean, there's so much here. And that is also when we can experience the depths of our emotion. I mean, I can't tell you how many times with my partner, Ani, we've had mind-blowing sex. And by the time I'm done climaxing, I am shaking and crying, like bawling my eyes out, because there was such a massive release, like out of my heart. And there's nothing bad or crazy or wrong or weird about that. An orgasm, just like a laughter fit, just like an anger fit, just like a crying fit, is an energetic release. So when we are in sexual dynamics and there's intensity building and we're just releasing it, it makes sense physiologically, energetically, spiritually, that we could also release emotion, that we could cry, that we could laugh, that we could pee, that any sort of emotional and energetic release could take place at the same time. And in fact, we receive this like full body transmission of pleasure. That is what is available to us. And I'm not even scratching the surface by sharing this. So how do we create this? I know this is like the moment everyone is waiting for. How do we create a container for transformative sex? Okay, so those of you who tune into my work know that a lot of what I share in terms of how we create intimacy is based around creating safety. Safety is so key here. Even when we're exploring submissive dominant dynamics where it seems like, and is, that we're riding an edge of pain, of pleasure. When you look at conscientious submissive dominant dynamics, there is deep safety and very, very thorough communication. And that means if we want to create safety, if we want our partner to be a space and our relationship to be a space where there's a lot of safety, we first have to know how to create that safety within. So, babes, this is an inside job, because while our partners can serve as a place where they show us how to create safety within, we really must set the intention to create autonomy and safety within so that we can understand what our needs are, understand what our boundaries are, understand what our edges are, understand and be able to communicate this to a partner. Our partners aren't mind readers. No matter how long we've been together or how intense and wonderful it is. So it's considerate to your partner, considerate to yourself, and in service of your pleasure to know how to navigate these spaces within. So how do I learn to navigate my emotions, my desires, my needs? How do I feel safe in communicating them? This takes a lot of presence, and this is when we cultivate masculine energy. So a lot of times you're hearing people talk about masculine energy as like the energy that goes and does and achieves and organizes and analyzes in the world. Yes, all great things. Leadership, protective, and masculine energy is also associated with unwavering presence. Presence meaning the ability to watch and observe, to witness, to see, and to accept. Not to try and change and fix and make better and make wrong. So when we talk about those kinds of dynamics, say you were to go to your best friend and you were to share a deeply emotional experience. If your best friend said to you, oh, thanks for sharing that. Here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to change. Here's what you need to fix. Here's what you did wrong. Here's why you're worthless. Okay, you wouldn't feel very safe. And chances are you wouldn't go back to this friend again because there wasn't safety established. Well, how often are we talking to ourselves like that? Telling ourselves about all the things we need to do and change and fix and make better because we're not good enough and not pretty enough, not making enough money. The list goes on. Do you think you're able to create rapport and safety with yourself when you lack the presence to be unwaveringly and unconditionally loving? So if we want to develop safety within ourselves so that we can have transformative sex, we have to develop our sense of presence. Unwavering presence. Stop being a bitch to yourself. It doesn't work. Being a militant boot camp teacher is maybe great for short-term results, but I'm telling you it's not sustainable long-term if you want to be having the kind of sex that you want to be having, and if you want to be in a transformational relationship. The punishment and the shame and the guilt does not mix well with sex. It's like oil and water. Sexual shame does not equal pleasure. Sexual guilt does not equal pleasure. So if we want to have that kind of mind-blowing, heart-opening, transformative sex, we have to go into the realms where we explore what we feel ashamed about, where we explore the traumatic experiences, of course, with support from trusted professionals and trusted loved ones, so that we can let go of the things that don't belong to us. The sexual ideas about unworthiness, about what we deserve and what we don't deserve, about all women are this, or if you have a lot of sex, you're a slut, or if you don't have sex, you're a prude, or you're a man whore. Enough. It's tired, it's old, it's done. Let's drop it. I mean, come on. We can sit here and explore these things for years, but it's not going to move us in the direction that we want to go. So let's explore the shame. Let's explore what's really at the core here so we can fucking drop it and have mind-blowing sex. I mean, is that not what we want to be doing? Don't we want to live and walk in the world with pleasure, with joy, loving one another? Okay, I have a lot of rants in me, so that's the first one. Okay, so safety is key, and we create safety by being unwaveringly present with ourselves, with our emotions, with our shame, with our guilt, with our traumas, without the judgment, without trying to change them or fix them or make them different, because they're just there. It's a part of our experience, and that is what it is. So can we look at it and say, like, as trivial as this, okay, I see a pen. This is a pen. It's purple. I don't feel bad that it's purple. It's a purple pen. I see it. I accept it. I observe it. I am present with it. And that's it. And then I move on. And that's what releases the trauma. That's what, and I won't definitively say that, but that can create an opening for tension to be released from the body. And when we release tension, guess what? There's a lot more space for pleasure. There's a lot more space for joy. There's a lot more space for acceptance and receiving and love and connection and intimacy and tingles and orgasm and bliss. Yes, bring it all in. That's what I'm saying. And that comes from presence. Now, on the other hand, so we've got masculine presence. Now we've got feminine nurture and love and unconditional acceptance. This is the way of the feminine. So yes, we do hear about the feminine being heart open and receiving and creative. And the feminine is also all of these things. Love, acceptance, joy, creativity. When we are present, then there's a space for the feminine to open up, to blossom, because she feels safe. When we don't feel safe, we go inward. When we feel safe, we're out in the world, we express, we share, because there's safety. When our masculine presence creates safety by being unwaveringly there and down for whatever comes up, our feminine opens. And then our feminine is like, fuck yeah, I'm going to love whatever is here. I'm going to love my emotions. I'm going to love my anger. I'm going to love my sadness. I'm going to love this pleasure. I'm going to love receiving, and I'm going to love on you. And that is what creates the space for transformational sex. And if you were here before, I talked about all the ways in which we have amazing experiences. So just a quick plug before I go into the last part of this live, and that is, this is one of the many things I'm going to be teaching inside the Become the High Priestess group program that is launching next week. This is a program for women who want to be learning these things, who want to be having these transformational experiences through sex, through expression, through creativity, by embodying their inner high priestess. And girl, when you walk the world in this way, I'm telling you, everything is possible. Everything. You can have whatever the fuck you want. Nothing's impossible. Okay? So that's it. Go to the link in my bio to watch the free workshop, and let's hop on a call. This program was going to be only for single women, but I've had a number of women in relationships hit me up and ask about Become the High Priestess. So I'm opening this to women in relationships as well, because I'm recognizing the desire and the pull from all women for this kind of transformative work that's going to have us walking the world as the most expressed, empowered, embodied women who are in pleasure, in joy. So if this is calling to you, send me a direct message. Send me a direct message. I will send you all the info you need. I'm telling you, this program is for you. And girl, now is the time. You want to be having sex like this? You want to be in deep pleasure. You want to be walking the world as the most expressed version of you. Become the high priestess. That is the path that I will lead women on. I'm not saying it's the only path, but it's the path that I'm going to guide you down. And I'm calling in the women to this program who are badass go-getters, ready to take radical responsibility and like roll up their sleeves so that they can create this life for themselves because they know they're worthy, they know they're capable, and they just want to go on the journey with some other badass women. That's who this program is for. So if that's you, drop me a direct message as soon as this live is over. I will send you all the details you need. Let's get you into this program because we're going to be talking about the most mind-blowing stuff. And guess what your homework assignments are? To go and try these things in the world, which is fucking the best school I've ever heard of. So that's what we're going to be doing. And we're kicking off next week. So now's the time. You cannot wait any longer. Enrollment's about to close. Spots are about to fill up. Become the high priestess so that you can have this kind of transformational sex. All right, that's my plug. Last thing here that's available to you when you are creating the space for safety and unconditional love for yourself. Your masculine and feminine are integrating inside of you so that you can be a portal to receive pleasure, to give pleasure from your heart, not from your head because you saw how they did it in porn and that's how you think you need to do it. Because let me tell you, that is how I showed up for most of my sex life. I saw what they did in porn. I saw how they sounded. I saw how they positioned themselves. I saw what faces they made and how they twerked their back a little so their booty would be in the air. And I'm like, that's what he likes. That's what all these men like. So let me just do it because clearly they're getting off in porn. So that's how I need to do it. Ladies, that's not how we have to do it. And I am so, so, so grateful because when you're having transformational sex, you are attracting the kind of partners that are going to show you that your pleasure is welcome in any form. Your pleasure is welcome in any form. Whether you feel the desire and urge to be with your ass out and your hair wild and just slobbering everywhere, or you feel the gentle calling to be inward, to be reserved, to have emotions come up, to be unsure, to feel scared. When you create a container for transformational sex, all of you is welcome. Every single part, every nook and cranny of your darkness, of your light, of your expression, of your fear, of your shame. Oh, fuck, I could cry. I could honestly cry at how beautiful this container can be and how much it can open us up to transformation, to healing, to self-expression, to embodiment, to intimacy, to connection, to our humanity, to the universe, to source, to God, to fucking other dimensions. Let's not even, we're leaving planet Earth in transformational sex. We're fucking blasting off to Mars or, wherever. Elon thinks he figured it out with SpaceX and going to Mars. Bitches, let me tell you, that's a term of endearment, by the way. I mean it with so much love. Have transformative sex and you're going to be blasting off to fucking Mars before anyone gets on a rocket ship to Mars under Elon Musk's care, okay? We can go to Mars tomorrow. All it takes is a little bit of safety, unconditional love, and really, really creating the space to feel comfortable speaking our needs, boundaries, desires, wants, preferences, kinks, fears, all of those things. All right, so the main takeaways from this video: safety and communication, expression are what lead to transformational sex. In that space of safety and trust and surrendering and feeling, walking our edges, feeling where our edges are, not going beyond our boundary, but there's this sweet little spot. Here's our comfort zone, everything we're comfortable with. Here's the edge. Here is the edge. It's so juicy. Here's where our boundaries are, okay? In this space of the edge, there is the opportunity for growth and development, spiritual expansion, breakthrough, tension release, trauma release, when we have established safety, rapport, connection, intimacy, mindful communication. And when we ride in this edge throughout sex, this is like the fast lane. If you're on the highway, right, you have all the slow ass traffic over here. You have the reckless people over here beyond the boundary zone. When you ride this sweet spot, this edge in sex, where you're not playing with what's familiar and where you're not crossing your boundaries, this is where the growth and transformation is. This is the fast track to spiritual development, to God, to the universe, to that which is greater. In the edges. And when we surrender in those edges, we find a new level of expansion, of heart openness, of emotional release if there is some fear there. This is just what happens, what pops up for us. So this is what is coming through. This is what is on tap for us. If you say yes to sex and sexuality, your sexual power being a vehicle for transformation. So one last time, making a plug, I am bringing women on this journey. If you are a woman and you're listening to this, whether right now or after, send me a direct message. Send me a direct message right away, because I'm launching Become the High Priestess, where we're going to be talking about all of these things, how to create massive and radical transformation inside of us so that we can have mind-blowing sex, so that we can call in our dream partner, so that we can create the most transformative relationship with our current partner. For this limited time, I'm opening up this program to women who are single and women who are in relationships, because I am getting requests from women all over the place to know what this path is like, to know what it's like to have sex be a portal to transformation, to mind-blowing breakthrough, to seeing new areas of ourselves. This is personal development times infinity. I mean, we're going to the cosmos. When we have the safe container, the expansive and communicative container for sex to exist without our imprinting, without the stories and the ideas and the traumatic experiences that sex has once been for most of us, when we can have sex be this pure baby that we nurture because we want to fill it with all of our love, then it gets to be a portal for us, a portal straight through to the divine, into and down into ourselves, out into the world as creative expression, out into the world as a business idea, out into the world as love and connection. That is what is on offer here. So for the women who are listening to this, send me a direct message if this is of interest to you. If you are like, fuck yes, Lee, I am ready. I am ready to welcome this kind of pleasure and receiving and joy into my life, because I fucking know I'm worthy, even if I forget sometimes. I'm ready to take radical responsibility. I'm ready to create newly in my life because I know I'm here for something bigger than myself. Send me a direct message as soon as this is over. Become the High Priestess. This program that I'm kicking off on Wednesday is for you. Let's hop on a call. Let's do this, ladies. Now's the fucking time. We can't wait anymore for transformation. So, with all of that, I love you so much. May you all go out and have mind-blowing sex that feels amazing for you, that tickles your fancy, that pushes your edges, that expands you and grows you and leads you to deeper connection and intimacy. Would love to hear from you all. Much love.